Bonjour Good day. Thank you for joining me. It's been a while since I've done a walkabout video. So, on this day in the year of our rulers, 28th of May, 2024, I am taking a nice long stroll back to where I came from. Why don't you go back to where you came from? If you've ever had those words uttered to you, you will know how infuriating it must be. Of course, I've told the story of that one time where an older gentleman said exactly those words to me, simply because I had addressed the dépanneur owner, dépanneur being a convenience store, simply because I had addressed the convenience store clerk in English. And he says to me, "Tu parles pas français?" And of course, it was one of those days when I was just not in the mood for such shenanigans. And of course, I tried to walk away, to which he followed me outside and kept egging me on. Perhaps in my youth I would have been a lot more aggro than I was, but I'm surprised by how cool, calm, and collected I was throughout the experience. So, the other day I was in a very intense conversation and I started laughing. This person's screaming at me, so I started laughing, and that infuriated them even more. Even more. "Are you laughing at me? Are you laughing at me?" I said, no, I get nervous when people are screaming at me, so I laugh and take it personally. S'il vous plaît. So, what else is cooking in the kitchen? Time. My mother says to me the other day, Rick, why don't you work for the government? You know, enough of this shenanigans at 40. You got 2 nickels to rub together. What's going on? Come on. Just go work for the government, man. Good benefits, good dental. Start off with 3 weeks vacation. Huh? I said, yes, okay, Mom, sure. Let me finish the house first. And then as soon as I'm done with the house, that's the first thing I'm going to do, is put in my application to the CRTC. I mean, okay, let's just entertain the idea for a second. Which branch of El Gubernare would best suit my sensibilities? Good people person, great communicator, very creative in problem solving, and pretty much able to get things done under high, intense pressure. So what's that? Immigration? Experience that could help in the field. I have adopted several refugees in my time. Literally housed them. Listened to their needs. Aided them in any translation services they needed. Sí, yo hablo español poquito. It's kind of fun. You get to see the right? So, okay, maybe, what do we start off with? We start off at what? 45, 50, 50? 45, 50K a year? With the benefits. Think of the dental. I mean, look at your teeth. Look at your teeth, Rick. Look at your teeth. Starting to look like a you-know-what, smoking you-know-what with you-know-who. Huh? Do you want to show up at your kid's daycare and all his friends say, is your granddaddy a crackhead? Nope. No. None of that. No mercy. Yes, for those of you that don't know, smoking crack rots your teeth. My cavities are purely a direct result of negligence. But as my father says, we just need to realign the management and coordinate the plan. You know, you put it down on paper and you go through it one by one. So, could I, in fact, after many, many years of self-employment, return to the workforce? One of my favorite quotes I heard somewhere along the way was, I never worked a day in my life 'cause I love what I do. So, have I really been working for the last 4, 5, 6 years? I mean, I love what I do. And what I love most about it is complete ownership of my time. Sure, there are ups and downs. The market goes up, the market goes down. Cash flow. That's why it's called cash flow, because it flows mostly out. And when I get my bank statements at the end of the month where they tell you, okay, this is what you spent it on: groceries, transportation, not to mention, last I checked, I was spending $1,000 a month in transportation. I don't even own a vehicle. Oh yeah, that's where I buy my smokes. You smoke how much? How many cigarettes do you smoke per day? Well, yeah, there you go. About $1,000 a month. So if do I really smoke that much? No. At that time, actually, that includes some gas, that included other people's smokes, that included a lot of $4 bottles of Coke and an endless supply of Kinder Surprises. But now the Kinder Surprise ship has sailed, so thank goodness for that. Yeah, so I would get these notifications every month where it's like, you spent, you had $2,222 come in this month into your account. I'm just throwing an arbitrary number out there. But you spent $2,333 this month. How is that even possible? Thank goodness for the overdraft protection. How do I have -88 in my account? Yeah, there was a lot of those moments. And of course, I've said it before, I'm going to say it again. When you're in the middle of projects, building stuff, you got to spend the money. So money comes, money goes, right? And my mantra has always been, or at least recently when I fine-tuned it and really came to understand what I want to fulfill in my life, primary goal, complete ownership of your time, of my time. I decide when I want to wake up, how long I want to sleep in. For example, today I slept in till about noon. That was it. I said, you know what? I'm just going to sleep. Sure, I went to bed at 3 in the morning, but then I just slept. and I woke up when my body was well rested. Why would I give that up? It's a Tuesday. Why would I give that up? Tuesday morning, waking up at noon. Huh? Now I'm heading back. Gonna work till 3, 4 in the morning. Continue the project. The heart work. And yeah. The idea of putting on an alarm, right? The idea of having to be up at 8 o'clock in the morning so that you can leave the house at 8:15 because you know it takes you about 45 minutes to get to work. And God forbid you miss the metro or the bus. Then the next one comes in 15 minutes or 10 minutes, and then you gotta worry about your boss snapping at you for being 5 minutes late. Maybe you should leave 5 minutes earlier since you're always 5 minutes late. Maybe you should leave 5 minutes earlier. Hey, Rick. Hey, hi. How's it going? Yeah, good. So, looks like we've been having some problems getting in on time. Yeah, I've just missed the bus and was only able to... Yeah, well, about that. Maybe you should leave 5 minutes earlier. Are you kidding me? Like as if I'm gonna put up with that shit. Did I tell you the last time I had a interaction with a so-called supervisor in my work? Guy walks in first thing in the morning. He says, "Hey, I want you to do those 2 pallets by noon." And at that point I was like, what the fuck? I don't need this shit in my life. What is this? I looked at him and I said, "Hey, first of all, how about we start with a little good morning? Huh? Well, good morning. Yes, how are you? Yeah, good weekend. Great. Okay. If you don't mind, please, could you get those, work on those first? You don't come in here and bark orders at me. Who am I, your wife? Huh? Is that how you talk to your wife? You go home and you say, "Hey, where's my dinner? I want I want some balut on my plate." Balut? That's a reference to the ethnicity of said individual. You don't yell at me, buddy. You yell at your wife. When you go home tonight, you can tell her, I want some balut on my plate in 15 minutes. Or else. Motherfucker says to me, or else. Or else what? Oh, you know what? Oh, that's it. You're fired. Fired? You didn't hire me. You can't fire me. Anyways. It wasn't meant to be. So all these wonderful experiences that I've had in my employment era, in my youth, naturally, when I was much younger, they all taught me something significant that I have carried on with me ever since, henceforth, which is that the ultimate quest is to be the ruler of your own destiny, and that includes how you make a living. Okay? So yes, I continue to work hard to hopefully one day in the not so distant future, we'll have at least 90 to 95% of my time that I can truly do with as I please. How nice is that? A little late night walk along the lake. Can you hear the water? Listen. moving on to some other matters at hand. Something that I feel a little funny about since it happened. About 2 weeks ago, I was at a family barbecue. Nice little Sunday afternoon thing in the park. Naturally, my mother says to me, "Rick, today's the day. Look at this beautiful chorizo." I said, "That's okay. That's okay. I'll take the veggie dogs, and please just don't contaminate them with the sentient being body parts." Apparently, picanha is the most amazing cut of them all. But I digress. So, at one point, I go off to the side with my uncle, my dearest uncle, my buddy, my friend. Can really talk about all kinds of stuff with him. And said uncle happened to be a government employee during his time. He is now retired, doing more constructive things with his time than before, but at least he had the benefits. So said uncle happened to be a government employee for the duration of his professional career. Retired about 5-6 years ago, what have you. And we're sitting to the side having a smoke, and he says, "Oh man, right. Oh man, it's terrible what's going on right now in Palestine." I said, "Oh boy, here we go." I mean, really, like, just so much death and destruction and all the people dying. And so I says to him, I says, "Well, you know, Tio. Tio is uncle in Portuguese." I said, "Tio, I don't get into these conversations with people because ultimately there's two sides or more of this story. For starters, how long has this conflict been going on? When you see Netanyahu and Sharon in a photo shaking hands with smiles on their faces looking at the camera, what are they smiling at? Right? What are you saying, Rick? What are you saying? It's not what I'm saying. I'm saying what I'm suggesting, because I discovered these things, is that maybe the whole thing is a big put on. What? There is no Gaza, there's no Palestine? Well, some people will say that it is a movie set, right? To propel the propaganda and the hate and the division and all that stuff, right? Just look around the world at all the protests, all those woke folks with their Palestinian scarves, And so I says to him, all you got to do, because I'm sure you're not aware of it, is check out one documentary. I'll send it to you, okay? I'll send you one documentary. It's called P-A-L-L-Y Wood. P-A-L-L-Y Wood. Came out circa 2008. Long time. And in this little short documentary, it should at least shed some insight on the potentiality of the whole thing being a big psychological operation. Well, for sure there are people dying. For sure there are. And I says, I pulled a page from Uncle Dave's, crazy Uncle Dave J's book, It says, don't bring death into the room. Okay? Don't bring death into the room. You're standing at the water cooler getting a drink of water, and the only thing that comes to your mind is, oh, did you hear about the bombing at the school or the hospital that they bombed? Or, what a shame what's happening in Ukraine. I'll tell you what's happening in Ukraine, and I didn't make this shit up. Nothing. Crickets. So, how are you going to convince anybody, which you can't, so Bottom line is, you can't convince nobody of nothing. You cannot convince anyone of anything, if we're going to speak proper English, right? So all we can do is share the findings. And I go back to how much lashback I received throughout my process of sharing, disseminating the information that I was acquiring. To make a long story short, I end up sending my uncle the link to PALLYWOOD, available on BITCHUTE. Okay, so this one we got an orange light up in here. LED? No LED. To which he responds a day or two later. He says, yes, I see that, but to me, this looks like propaganda from the ones that are actually committing these atrocities. All right, so there we go. You know, what are your sources? What are your sources? Oh, who's this guy? Who's that guy? But I digress. I sent him a message saying you can lead the horse to the water, but you cannot make it drink. And after sending that message, I felt a little bit, like, what was my objective in sending that message? Was it or ultimately, that is the bottom line. The crunch of it is that you can show something to anybody, but unless it resonates with them and touches them in a way that, because nobody can convince you, no one can convince anyone of anything, and you have to see it to believe it. You don't know what you don't know. You can't spell belief without a lie. And I remember going back early in the journey, where I was watching the videos made by countless channels breaking down the bang bang events and the shoot 'em up events, and understanding the difference between false flags and red herrings and COINTELPRO. Technically, we don't know technically, but ultimately the conclusion is there's no such thing as a false flag. Everything is just a psyop. Everything is just a hoax. No one died, no one got hurt. You know, no one died, no one cried. Well, there was a lot of tears, but a lot of crying, but no tears. And so, oh, got my man's car over here. What's he up to? Is he still working? No, everything looks closed. So we just gotta keep going with it, I guess, and let's just discuss it less and less with people. Now I just listen whenever I'm in a little gathering, private home gathering, and someone brings up all these so-called conspiracy theories. I said, oh, that's interesting. What about the planes? Well, what about them? They crashed into the building. Did they now? And that's how it was for me. That whole thing was, oh yeah, 9/11 was crazy, and the planes. And my buddy says to me, what planes? I go, what? What do you mean, what planes? What planes? Hey man, check it out. And boom, there we go. The rest is history. Thank you, Simon Shack, and everybody else. Brian Stavely did some extensive work. All, I consider these my truth uncles. And along the way, innumerable other people that have expounded on the multitude of subjects that have since multitude of subjects that have since come and gone onto my radar. And a lot of it with the help of people such as I'm not going to name anybody individually, but a number of individuals have helped me understand the idea of the pissed-on breadcrumbs and the chicken feed to keep you going and going. And I did realize how crazy the alternative realm, the twofer realm can be. I mean, there's all kinds of colorful characters everywhere. But holy smokes. And ultimately, we feed whichever side of the narrative with our attention. Right? You can sit in front of this thing for forever till the cows come home and still not get to the bottom of it. But then what? You want to talk about it with people and people shun you out, call you crazy, disown you. Now you just change the subject, right? Just change the subjects. And then people ask you questions like, if you really love your children, and I mean really love your children, do you love your children? Yes, of course I love my children. Then, don't you want to get them vaccinated? I mean, if you really love your children, you have to get them vaccinated. I mean, that's pure negligence. So irresponsible. To which I say today, I used to think like you. And I did. I remember the first time I heard those words coming from a parent's mouth. Oh, I didn't vaccinate my children. I said, whoa. I was too polite to say anything, of course, but inside I said, well, this is a very irresponsible parent. So we evolve, we change, our ideas develop, evolve, evolution, not devolution, not going backwards. And now that you know what you know, you cannot unknow it. Therefore, act accordingly and ultimately correct your path. As I said before, it's all about behavioral correction, path correction. The path is narrow because it allows but one to walk it. And what we choose to do with our time and our energies and where we put our thoughts ultimately will yield the reality that we wish to experience in the time that was given to us to experience. To achieve something in the time that was given to us to achieve. So I finally took care of some trees on my property. I have prepped them for the future build. In one tree, I will be constructing a magnificent tree house inspired by our good friends at Ancient Skills. If you don't know about Ancient Skills, it's these guys that build stuff in the woods, in the forests, out of entirely by hand. And Oh, yes. That's my pump. Just take a little pause. Take out my glasses to wrap this up. Throw a little pot in there. Make myself another little coffee. So in one tree, I will be constructing a tree house for lake view purposes. And in the other tree, I will be constructing a birdhouse for the birds. And it will be a 1:100 scale model of the house itself. The house itself. Look at the gray hairs. See the gray hairs? Look at that. They didn't exist about a week ago. And so how long can we endure these ongoing conversations with people, and more so for around people who consume this kind of stuff day in and day out? I'm staying with my folks. That's why you're getting a lot more stories about Rick, why don't you work for the government, Rick? Staying with my folks, and they unfortunately are tuned in to the NEWS. That's north, east, west, and south, sending you in all directions. And just as we're about to leave the house, they say, oh, you know, they just read out the headlines like as if it's something to constantly keep everybody in tune with, you know. We'll let the coffee finish. 3 girls kidnapped. Why are you laughing? Is it funny? You think kidnapping is funny? It reminds me, actually. Reminds me of when I was a child and they told me a story about somebody getting eaten by a tiger or something, right? And of course, at that time, they said, oh, so-and-so got eaten by a tiger, or there's such a, and I just said, cool. And of course, I got a shit for it, you know, like, what do you mean cool? Hey, that's cool? You think people getting eaten by tigers is cool? But it's kind of like, today I realize, well, and a few times that I did actually look into it, just the other day, actually, you know, what's the point? What's the point of going back and looking into it? To prove to who? People want to believe what they read. Let them believe what they read. Ultimately, right? If you don't believe it, okay, there's nothing I can do or say to tell you. I mean, I can show it to you. I can prove it to you. I can take you step by step. But as we've said before, if one is to come to the understanding truly that what they are being shown is a fabrication, is a lie, then inevitably it will lead them to think, what else is a lie? What else is a fabrication? What else have I not been told, or what else that I have been told is a lie? Well, I'm going to say it before, I'm going to say it again. Turns out it's all a big effing lie. You can't spell believe without a lie. Try it. You can't. It would be beef. Beef. What beef? No beef. Believe. No, I don't want lie. I beef. So I say I don't believe, I beef. But as if we've been so conditioned to consume this crap for so long that we don't even think about it. It's like second nature. I don't even remember a time when, I guess I do remember a time when I used to believe, but since discovering my good friend, my truth uncle RV Truth, shout out. I know you're busy, buddy, but if and or when I get my stuff together and I become a real podcaster, RV would be my first person to have the honor to. One day, RV, one day. Just because we want to talk about these things with like-minded individuals and people who have a different perspective on how it all operates. Let's go. As wild as it may seem, but it's not so wild. I mean, I deduced it for myself going back to the 7-Eleven job application. We didn't see any footage of these so-called tens of thousands of individuals fleeing the buildings. There was no footage. So there and then that should tell you that if there's no footage anywhere, then there's nothing else to say. And when you do have footage, i.e., if you don't quit, you must have quit, i.e. that whole psyop, when you do have footage, you realize, okay, well, there can't be footage. And if there is footage, well, it's because this is a made-for-TV show. Are you not entertained? You can handle the truth. So, what's the point of it all? Well, yeah man, cool cat, smoking a cigarette. I remember when what was that kid's name? Darnell, a little 7-year-old kid who stole his mama's SUV and went on a joyride. I yanked it. I yanked the thing. I yanked it. That one. Back then when I would make videos of how it's all F-A-K-E-A-F. Daddy, I know what AF means. Who told you? My mother. Oh, mother told you? Okay, that's it. Now you know. Space is... So... I work at night doing a full house renovation, and the further along I go into it, the more I realize what a humongous, momentous task it truly is, and all the little things that it takes. I mean, just working on door framing is its own thing. Working on my stairs is this whole thing. And what really takes a while for me is thinking of what I want. So for example, I have this little step section. Maybe I'll show you. Where a couple weeks ago, my electrician guy is working in the house, tells me, what do you need this for? Just take it all off. Just take this off. I said, oh, really? Anyways, thought about it, then commenced to take it off, built a little thing. I'll show you. So you have an idea of what I'm talking about. You established, you have an idea of what I'm talking about. So, This is my staircase, okay? Hand built. Hand built. It goes up like this. And it goes around. And yeah, beautiful. So this little beam here used to go all the way up. My friend says, just take it off. So I cut it down. But now I got to think about how I want the railing to come. And I want the railing to kind of come from here down. Right? Take a good look. Each step meticulously built, hand-built, handmade. Been working on plastering, putting up a wall. How you gonna put up a wall in this section with no supports? Huh? How you gonna do that? How you gonna do that, Establish? Oh, watch the steps. They're not strapped in. You got my... Look at that. That is a 100-year-old lead stained glass lamp from a, believe it or not, Masonic temple. Cool stuff, eh? Versus those stairs. Huh? So, that's what I do when I'm not busy making YouTube videos. What's happening? What's happening, my fellow subscribers? Nice to see you. Thank you for joining me. So we must get enjoyment out of the things we do. And if we can align that enjoyment, if we can find something that is aligned with a way or a means to make a living. Look at that frame. Look at that door frame. Look at that. Huh? Just a little quarter round in there. I mean, the sheer size of this room. Skin fade faux hawk with the south of France. See that? Skin fade faux hawk with the south of France. Skin fade faux hawk with the south of France. Skin fade faux hawk with the south of France. Yeah, if you can align something that you enjoy doing with a means to be able to make a living and an income, then power to you. And Rome was not built in a day. So when I look back on the last 5 years and I say, okay, yes, there's been penniless days and prosperous days alike. The goal is to reach a level where you're in the plus, you're in the red. You know, I see a red door and I want to paint it black. Getting that government job would be the equivalent of a black door. Okay? So, on that note, in that tone, I hope you are doing well at this moment in your life. And if times are rough, then take a moment, stop, smoke a joint perhaps, if that's your thing. If not, have a coffee if that's your thing. If not, have a cigarette if that's your thing. And look at the things that are going well in your life. Examine the items that happen to be going smoothly and be grateful for those. And then the things that aren't going so smoothly, ask yourself, what can you do about it, if anything? What is that? What is that? Yes, I have a rodent problem in this house. It's a house in the country, and then I find little bits of poop. So then I get the dilemma of, am I going to call my guy Yasin in, who's going to exterminate the SHIT of them all? It's such a conundrum. Then I think to myself, oh, that's my cue. Then I think to myself, I need a cat. Then I think to myself, I need a lot of cats. And I'm going to make an outdoor shed for my cats. So I'm going to have cats outside. Then I think to myself, then you got to feed the cats. So no cats. Anyways. And I am not alone, actually. There are 2 frogs that live in my sump pump. Yes, my sump pump is open. I don't know if it's supposed to be, but it's open. And I got these 2 frogs that are here. Every time I come back, I see the little guy on the floor. I'm like, oh, hey, little guy, how you doing? It's really annoying, eh? That loud buzzing. Give it a second. In fact, the frog is looking at me right now. Right in there, underneath. Can you see the little guy? Look at him, looking right at us. Hey buddy. So, ask yourself what you can do about the troubles you have, and if you can make a change, usually starting with ourselves, perhaps our outlook, our perspective on whatever the matter may be. That's always a good place to start. What do they say? The sign of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. Well, then try something different. You know what I'm saying? So, on that note, in that tone, from everybody here at the establishment, I thank you for joining me, spending your 48 minutes with us today. And I hope you got something out of this as much as I did, which I surely did. And we shall see each other again shortly. Okay? Bonjour, good day.